Hello. Welcome to another session of Tarot Spills the Tea. All right. So, this, as I said before in an announcement, this is going to be the runner's edition. All right. Where I'm going to pick on the runners, people who run. They just run. But this runner is Scott Metcalfe. So what I'm going to dive into is what role did the cast play in the Metcalfe files? And just to let you all know, in case someone is new and just kind of stumbled across this session, this is a tarot reading. Make no mistake, which is why it's called Tarot Spills the Tea. This tarot reading will expose Scott's shadow self and what he's hiding. And I have to admit, and I told myself, just save it for the end. Save it for the end. But I'm like, I'm disappointed. I am. But one more thing I need to let you guys know, since I am doing the shadow self, let me tell you right now, it's a deck that I have not shown you guys before. It's a new deck to you. And you just need to be advised that when I do the shadow cards, they may be gruesome. All right. So the whole reading is not the deck that has the potential to be gruesome. But what I did was, instead of the energy card at the end, I'm doing the shadow. All right. And the shadow self of anyone is basically, just in short, in layman's terms, what someone's hiding. So I have a deck for that, a specific deck for what someone's hiding. Okay, get into it. All right. But let us sage it out. Now, allow me to introduce myself. I am Indigo Sage, an awakened soul. I do have a spiritual website at unapologeticallysage.com. You can also find unapologeticallysage.com on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Alrighty. Let's sage this out because I'm ready. I was excited about it until I did it, because you guys, I pre-do this and then I do it, Spirit talks to me as I'm going through it. But it's like us tarot readers, we do like a pre-shuffle type of thing. And I'm like, I was just, I don't know, disappointed, but we're gonna, I'm gonna take you guys down this road with me. Okay, let's sage this out. As I've already explained, let me go ahead and say it one more time. This is the runner's edition. This is going to, these editions for the runners, we're gonna just tear open into all the runners. And I have a couple in mind, like a few actually in mind. So we're starting out with Scott. Mr. Scott Metcalfe. He's a runner. He tried to run twice in the reunion number 2. Like, what the why, man? But so I'm just gonna bust out with this edition with him. He's, oh my goodness, the Spirit told me to say he's my favorite runner. I guess that's true. He's my favorite runner. And when I say that, it's not that I'm in favor of him running. It's just that every time I look at him, I wonder, what the freak are you running from? What are you running from? Why are you doing this? So, he's my favorite. I do have already 3 others in mind that I'm going to do right after him, back to back. So, but if there's any like breaking news, then that'll, come before the runners. But look forward to the runners edition. Tarot spills the tea on the runners. And with all of the runners edition, I am going to use these shadow cards that has the potential to be gruesome. So I'm just letting you guys know that. And in my opinion, they're not gruesome enough to warrant the advisory sign to be put up. And also, it's not the entire, like all the cards. What it is, it's taking place of the energy card. Okay? At the very end. At the very, 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 very end. So you still can watch the reading, and then when I get to that card, you'll know it. I'll announce it. And but I suggest just watch this one. Because Spirit is telling me that it's not, I'm making it seem like it's really, really bad. It's see, here's the thing, I gotta balance it out, because nothing is bad to me. Like when I grew up, I loved watching horror films, so nothing is gruesome or bad to me. And so I don't know that what that means is I don't know what's gruesome to other people. So that's why I'm just saying, oh, it may be gruesome, it may be bad to you, because my sensitivity is like gone to that. So I don't know. Anyway, let's go ahead and start this. So, the Metcalfes. Scott, no, excuse me. Let me back up. Let me back up. Dr. Scott Metcalfe and Dr. Contessa Metcalfe. Okay? Even though Buffy threw shade and said that she didn't pass her test or something, I'm going to get on Buffy as well. That'll be way later because she's lower on the totem pole. Okay. So, the Metcalfes. Beautiful couple. I've always been rooting for them. All right. I just thought it was just a lovely, lovely black couple. Successful black couple. So I was rooting for them. Okay. Now, I'm getting ready to just run through this. So hopefully I don't go too fast, but you guys can let me know in the comments below if I go too fast through this. But I'm just going to assume that since I'm talking about him running away from the reunion part 2 times, that you guys are somewhat familiar with it. So I don't have to break down every single second. Okay, because I was at first, and then I was like, nah, I ain't got to do that. So I'm not. Scott attempts to run away from his marriage issues twice on the Married to Medicine Season 8 Reunion Part 2. What is the real reason Scott runs? Plus, what is it that Scott doesn't want us to know? All right. So, first up, what you are looking at is the first time he tried to run. Well, he didn't try, he did. He grabbed his little man bag and he was out. And he said he was out. He straight up said if she... Ooh, I had it written down, honey. He said if she's starting this shit, I'm out. And he was. He was out. Oh, here's the quote. I'm gonna leave if she talking this shit. Then he said, I'm out. Then he said, what is she talking about? Wow. If she talking this shit, I'm out. And then he said, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. He said that like 3 times and he was out. As you can see in this picture, he was out. Okay. He was out. He was not playing. He was out. And so, Curtis, with his tall self, but hey, he was the voice of reason. Curtis talked to him. And I don't know why I've listened to a couple of bloggers review this and no one's giving Curtis credit. I don't understand that. It's weird to me. Doesn't matter what his past is, we won't forget it, but we're not gonna keep prosecuting him for it. If his wife has accepted him and she's moved on, we can move on too. So everybody needs to knock it off. But like I said, we won't forget it now. I ain't saying forget it, but stuff like that's supposed to make you wiser. So Curtis is the first one that talked to him and just said, hey man, don't look, because he already knew that this was Curtis has been doing this for years. He knows how it goes. And basically what he told him was, this is the only time you're going to get to speak up on how you feel in your side of the story. And he told him, if you don't do this now, like tell your side of the story, you're never going to get an opportunity like this again to tell your side of the story on this platform. Sages, don't you get it? I do. I got what he was saying. Because of course he could have left and, tweeted or got on social media and did a live. A lot of people want to do lives and do reactions on lives and stuff. But Curtis was saying, basically telling him an equal platform. You won't have another opportunity to respond to the viewing, because there's millions of people watching this show and reunion. It won't be millions of people looking at his tweet if he tweets. But I forgot, he acted like he didn't know nothing about that. He acted like, oh Lord Jesus. Anyway, so that's what that was. Let's continue. All right, so when Curtis convinced him to come back. Look at his face. First of all, look at his face. Look at Scott's face. Oh, yeah, this is a good time for me to tell you guys to bring your beautiful eyes to the bottom of the screen. Look at the purple bar. Okay, I had to make it purple because normally it is red and it will go back to being red, but this needed a red background, so it had to stand out. What this purple bar says, that this is for entertainment purposes only, and every single word is alleged and not to be used as facts. So, any time that you see this purple bar at the bottom of your screen, apply this sentence within. Alrighty then. Back to Scott. Allegedly. Scott, Dr. Scott. Look at him. Look at his face. Look at him. He's just not here for it because he's just so ready to run, and he wants to run. He's a runner. Now, this is when Cecil was talking to him. And then later when, Dr. Scott, when they encourage this man to go barging onto the stage when it ain't they turn, then Cecil turns to, I think, Grimace, what they call Grimace, Toya's husband, and I don't know him personally, so I can't give him no nickname. That's just what I think Spill It Boy calls him. Okay, and I think it fits. Well, you know what? Spill It Boy says Hamburglar and Grimace, and I be confused as to which one is which, but either one could be either one. But why is he the only one with the mask on? But I have my own theory on that too. I think because they walked up and down that hall. That's why I think. Because they all were tested. So those men are safe. Or, they didn't come up with it. And so that's why they're able to be within close proximity. But they were going up and down that damn hall chasing Scott. Dr. Scott. So Cecil started talking and was just telling him to, fight for his wife and family. And you can see, and I meant to point out, and I'm going to do it now. I made sure that I turned on the closed captioning so you guys could see the words. But just look at his body language and his face. Scott wants to run. He's a runner. He's a runner. He's almost the inspiration behind this runner's edition. But he's not the only runner that I've wondered about. So let's continue. So Dr. Scott Metcalfe crashes the reunion. As you can see in this photo, screenshot, screen grab, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. Look at his ass. He just walked out there on a little fake grass and just accosted Dr. Contessa. Look at that behavior. Because we're going to dive into it, okay? But I just, look at that behavior. And he's questioning her in a passive-aggressive type of manner. What do you call that? Like a covert, not covert as in, not that, but covert. I'm trying to get my words right, y'all. COVERT, covert manner. And the reason why I say that is because he's trying to pretend like I'm just concerned because I just want to save my marriage. However, just the action of storming the stage, crashing the stage on a time where it's not your time to speak, to stand and hover over your wife and demand that she stops, that everybody stop, not just everybody got to stop because, he crashed the stage, and answer your questions like that is covert narcissist behavior. It really is. And then later he acts like he's so dumb and can't understand anything, doesn't know what anything means. It's ridiculous. But let's continue. Oh, wait. So he's saying, so what he's saying in this image is, so you're telling Quad things and not telling me? And so Contessa says, what did I share with Quad that I didn't share with you? Okay, what did I share with Quad that I didn't share with you? All right, so after him crashing the stage and asking, why are you talking to Quad? Why does Quad know things about us that you're not sharing with me? Dr. Contessa just looks at him and says, you don't think we've been going through stuff? So amongst all of this, his confusion, because he's pretending like he has confusion, okay? And I'm making a long story short. He's pretending as though he's confused, although he did say backstage with the guys that actually he went back and forth, but I told myself I'm not going to get into that because I could just pick it apart literally second by second from his BS. But he's pretending to be confused, so just remember that. One of the things that he's so confused about in this instance is her filing for a legal separation. Then Andy and some of the ladies ask him and they talk about it, and he's saying, but that's not divorce. And then he says, what's the difference between legal separation and divorce? So he says he doesn't know the difference between separation and divorce. So Indigo Sage, I've got that for you. Hold on just a second. Legal separation provides both the parties to retain the right to marital property, but divorce does not. That's the only difference. Because even with the guardianship of children, that can happen. The same things can happen with the legal separation that it can with a divorce, which is the same with the children if you weren't married at all. Okay? So the only difference, and this is allegedly, I'm not an attorney. All right? I know how to find out information. Legal separation provides both the parties to retain the right to marital property. Divorce does not. But he even looks confused in that picture. Look at him. Continuing on. Okay, so now, I've given you the rundown, the quick little rundown, and I'm left wondering, probably like all the rest of you, why is Scott running, and what the hell is he running from? All right. So what I'm getting ready to do is give you, I'm going to tell you straight up first why he's running. Then we'll go into the reading of why did he decide to run. All right. It all ties into each other. And then we're going to break down his shadow side, the shit that he doesn't want anyone to know about him. All right. It's very interesting, but I saw it a mile away. And then when the cards confirmed it, I was like, yep, I knew it. I was in my house screaming. All right. So you guys can be a part of that. Let's continue to stage this out. All right. So what we're looking at, I have 4 screenshots, and this is what he was running from. This reaction and this gosh darn truth. This truth right here. This reaction and this truth. Her truth. Because he said if she's going to do this shit, I'm leaving. That's what that man said. Now what's this shit? I think he said if she talking that shit. What did he say? Yeah, talking this shit. I'm gonna leave if she talking this shit. If she talking this shit. What is this shit, Scott? What is this shit, Scott? Scott. What is this shit, Scott? This shit? This is what he was running from. Her truth. So she's saying she doesn't know what's real and what's not. So in this clip, I just wanted to show you guys that, because it was said really, really low, and Dr. Contessa was kind of talking over it, but Andy at this point said, you feel gaslit. Gaslighting. Let's continue. She goes on to explain, you can't just say anything and talk crazy to me. Look at him. Look at him. Does he seem concerned at all with his horrible haircut? I'm just not looking at his haircut. Boy, man, you are a doctor. Who is your barber? Fire him. And fire him again. Fire him 10 times. Fire him, hire him, fire him back. Fire him. Who is his barber? Okay, let me focus. And I don't like her ponytail, but we not talking about, that ain't what we talking about, y'all. That ain't what we talking about. Who do their hair? Who does their hair? What's going on with that? All right, let me focus. Yes, you can't just say anything and talk crazy to me. Let's continue. But remember, she says, after Andy says you feel gaslit, I don't know if she heard it or not, but she kind of talks over it. And she says, you can't just say anything to me, anything crazy to me. Okay. Then she gets that good old Kleenex. And she says, and then expect me to love you. Booyah. This is what he was running away from. Because then, she got true, real emotions that she's showing. She got a Kleenex, crying. And he gonna have to explain his behavior. And he was like, I'm out. If she talking this shit, I'm out. He was running away from this. And I'm gonna show y'all something else he was running away from. Hold on. So, ultimately, this is what he was running away from. Look at this. Everyone, her point of view is out there now. She spoke up. And even when Andy said the men are crashing the stage, she said, that's all right. I'm fine. It didn't sound like she was. It didn't sound like she was 100% fine. It didn't sound like no behind that. That's good. That's fine. I'm okay. That's okay. And we've seen her cower in his presence. Why? What is that all about? What is that all about? I am going to break it down on his end. Okay, this is a reading on him. Dr. Scott Metcalfe. And, because you know what? Let me tell you something. One of these bloggers, vloggers, whatever you want to call them, they said, hopefully he ain't beating her ass. And here's the thing. My spirit, I don't feel like he's beating her ass. But I had to go ahead and ask spirit and do some cards to make sure. Okay. So we get ready to break this all down and see what actually is going on in this man's mind, because it ain't right. It ain't nothing, cool. It ain't nothing that we're used to seeing. But at the same time, let's be fair now. I'm not, why would you say he whooping on her? I'm not saying that. Why would you say that? So that's when I was like, I gotta do the cards. But I already was going to. Honestly, it's just I kept on pushing it back. I was gonna do cards on Dr. Scott when she first suggested it at the crystal party. I was gonna do some cards on it, and I just kept pushing it back because it just wasn't a priority. But now y'all want to say stuff it's just not cool to be saying that if it's not true. So I had to speak to my card, have spirit guide me with the cards to get to the truth. And the truth is what the truth is. And like I said, we are going to dive into his shadow side, which is not pretty, but we're going to sage it out anyway. All right. But back to this photo. What this is exactly what he did not want. Her to be able to speak out. This is what he was running from. Okay? All the attention on her, but not as if he was fighting for attention. It's what the attention is for. How abusive and toxic the relationship is. That's what he was running for. He didn't want to answer to none of that. Because he feels like he's the cause. He feels like he's the cause of it, and he don't want to answer to it. And he's been able to not have to really answer to it. But if he's on television, he kind of feels like he has to answer to it if he's asked something on national television. And that's what he didn't want. And then he didn't want this. What you looking at right now? Woe is her because your husband is so fucked up. He didn't want that. So he was running. He was like, shit, I'm doing a movie. Clickety clop. with them church shoes he had on. He was gone. And then, he came back. I'm so glad he came back. All right, let's continue. All right. Right before we break it down, how about you break it down by taking your index finger and just tapping that like button or the subscribe button, or do one better, like, subscribe, and tap that bell. Okay? Go ahead and do that. That would be so nice. That would be so wonderful. All right? If only you could just click like and subscribe and tap the bell because you're listening to it. Click subscribe. It's okay. All right, let's continue. Okay, you guys. So, yes, there's a lot of information here. But I'm not going to keep you. I'm not going to keep you longer than needed. Longer than needed be. So, in the past position, it was a reversed Son of Swords. The Son of Swords represents the Knight of Swords. And it was in the reverse and in the past position. Knight of Swords has all of the energy and ambition of the upright Knight of Swords, with none of the focus. I was like, dang, that's jacked up. But I tell you guys all the time that sometimes reverse is just the same as upright, but with less than. So this is a perfect example. In this case, it represents the same energy and ambition as upright, just lacking the focus. And it also goes on to say your partner is likely frustrated by your lack of direction. So, real quick, the way I would view that is hell yeah. Okay. Lack of direction. Her direction, I believe, is the best for the family. Lack of direction on his part, right? Continuing on. In the past position, this card describes a recent argument that you had, which led to your current state of mind. Going deeper, this card speaks to your childhood. Were you told that your dreams were unreachable? The foundation of your current situation could have been established in a climate of criticism. This card in this position asks you to ponder what your reaction to blunt words in the past might have caused you to do. Do you guys remember in this reunion that Contessa was complaining, saying that the arguments have become volatile? And then she was saying she didn't want that because she grew up in a household that was volatile. He was quick to say, I did too. Then Andy asked, what do you mean volatile? And that's when she said something about we argue so much and aim towards below the belt. I had the quote written down somewhere, but I'm not getting ready to search for that. But she said they go below the belt. They go so below the belt. That's what she meant by volatile. But my thing is, he said, me too. When she says she grew up in a household like that. And we know she did because she talked about it. She's already talked about it several times. But this reading ain't about her. It's about him. We're digging into Scott's ass and seeing what's up in there. What did he eat? Did he have broccoli, corn? What did he have? We're digging up in his ass. So the past, I think it speaks to his childhood. I think he, was telling the truth when he said that he had but now he ain't told us about his childhood. But he's acting like it's similar to Contessa's, and we know about Contessa's. Okay. And as I always say, this past card position influences the present card. So let's go ahead and look at that. Okay, so we are at the present. The present is 7 of Cups. Now, here's what disturbed me. All right. A 7 of Cups in the present position as it related to Scott leaving. 7 of Cups is all about having options. Okay, Scott. So you was going to another option? It was upright. And I believe all the rest of them were in reverse. Like, are you serious right now? The only one upright is and let me double check. I think that yeah. That's the only one that was upright. And this is asking, I asked Spirit, why was he running? So the present is the answer to your question directly. And then all the rest of the positions are just like the choir, just singing around it, which helps us get a complete vision. But the direct answer is 7 of Cups as to why he was running. 7 of Cups represents options, and it was the only card upright. Scott. Dr. Scott, god dang it. What are your options? What were you, boy, man, sir? Ooh, that pissed me off. Because just like, oh my gosh, what's her name? Said, I'm Team Metcalfe, But I'm rooting for them. However, I'm not rooting for Contessa to be stupid. So, as it is, this card means important choices are to be made. From all appearances, your relationship is the stuff of fairy tales, but in reality, you do little besides fulfill each other's superficial wants. You're living in a fantasy at the moment and refuse to see the cracks in your relationship. Shut up. He's asking himself if it's all worth working for. And when Spirit downloaded that message, I was like, ooh. So he's asking himself. This was a dose of reality. This was a real dose of reality. Well, confirmation. Because does it really seem like he's happy, you guys? I don't know. I don't think so. So he's asking himself if it's all worth working for. This card relies heavily on the future, which means that your decisions in the present will bear significant consequences on what's still to come. He feels blinded to who she really is. Now that took me for a loop. When that message was downloaded, when I was like, he feels blinded. And I wanted to do a clarifier, but I chose not to do any clarifiers because we'd be here for 10 hours. Okay. But that was really, something else. Plus, I got more information, which was, this is representing a person who's detached from reality and prone to losing themselves in illusions of grandeur. They carry unrealistic expectations in life and don't know how to deal with the painful consequences of their own shortcomings. This card says this is a person who's had abusive people in their life, as they're typically unable to effectively defend themselves. As such, they are often victims of bullying. That says a lot. It explains a lot. It explains a lot about how he's acting towards his wife, who in general is a strong, woman. And I don't have to say like, oh, strong black woman. I don't have to say that. Strong woman. I don't care. It doesn't matter what her race is. She's a strong woman, and I would think like I want to say independent, because that's what I thought. Like, she was a strong, independent woman. However, this season made me feel like, oh my God, what happened to I can't say independent no more. And I don't know if I could say strong. But here's the thing, like, and we'll see it in his shadow side. She really is a strong, independent woman. All this is tying in. But this is a little background to Scott that he didn't want us to know. He's detached from reality and prone to losing himself in illusions of grandeur. Illusions. Carrying an unrealistic expectation. And don't know how to deal with the painful consequence of their own shortcomings. This is a person who's had abusive people in their life, as they're typically unable to effectively defend themselves. So they're often prone to being a victim of bullying. I believe that, and I believe and hope that goes back to his childhood, because earlier one of those cards referred to his childhood, and then I told you guys how he said, when she said that her growing up was volatile, he said, mine was too. Let's continue. In the best position as far as him deciding to run. Oh boy, trying to run twice from this reunion. 6 of Wands reversed. And that's not a bad card upright. 6 of Wands represents reversed, okay? Represents instability and fragility. I knew he was fragile. I knew he was. Pay attention to this, because this is going to come into his shadow side. Fragile. Sometimes their confidence and desire to be the center of attention can turn into arrogance and lead to egotistical behavior. Hello, I knew it. Conflicts about family, money, and values will become wedges that drive the two of you apart. This is what this card represents. And I knew it. When I saw it in reverse, I was like, I knew I was right. So sometimes their confidence and desire to be the center of attention can turn into arrogance and lead to egotistical behavior. Do you guys think he's a little bit jealous of her being on this show? I think so. But I don't think it's necessarily like the show per se. I think it's what it's given her. Recognition and more independence, and her feeling good about herself and a circle of friends. And I think it's, her like confidence that she's gained is what pisses him off. So it goes on to say, while you were good together in the beginning, it's unlikely that you and your partner will be able to weather difficult times. If you want to try and work things out, both of you will need to check your egos and tempers at the door and talk seriously about your issues. Who do we know out of that relationship they keep on want to talk about their issues seriously, with a coach, with a worker, with a counselor, with a whoever? It's not him. This card is in the best position, and it says that's what you should do. But it was in reverse. Hello. Get your news. It's in reverse. It's in reverse. And I don't know if you guys remember, but he had said that he told the guys when he was down in Cecil's boom boom room. I think it might have been that time where he was showing the men the picture of the woman who he thought was just, I think he said, she is bad, she fine, and I can't hire her, because she fine, she bad. I got a picture of her in my phone, here she go. Okay, I think it was that time when he was being like a pervert, and Cecil was telling him he should go to counseling. See, Cecil and Dr. Jackie's husband, Curtis, they know about the cameras and what to say in front of them. Now, I'm not saying that what they say, I'm not saying that they don't mean it. What I'm saying is they know what to say when them cameras is on. Lights, camera, action. Okay, that's something you don't do. So Cecil was just telling him to go to counseling. What's the problem? And he said, Dr. Scott said, I ain't gonna let her tell me what to do. That's what he said. That is what he said. Go back and watch that episode if you need to, but that's what that man said. And I was like, wow. All this is about is saving your relationship, your marriage, not relationship, your marriage. And it boils down to you not going to counseling because you don't want her to tell you what to do. All right. So the best of it is a reverse 6 of Wands. It's an ego. See, okay. The 6 of Wands upright is an image normally of it's a man riding throughout the town. He's on top of a horse riding, and everybody's it's like he's in a parade and everybody's praising him like he just won the Super Bowl or something. You know how in America, when a team wins a Super Bowl, I think they take the coach, put him on their arms and dump Gatorade on him, and it's like, oh yeah, you're great. All right. So imagine that's kind of how the 6 of Wands is upright. It's like a celebration. Like, oh yeah, you're great. Yeah, you did it. Good job. All right. I know, and I keep seeing this too. People are not understanding that they are in reverse. The best for him is not this, instability and fragility in his marriage. That's not the best. At least I don't think so. But you know what? His shadow card, honey, it'll have you second guessing. He may think instability and fragility is best. He may think that. Allegedly. But he may think that. He may. But on the outside, what he wants us to see that he believes is best is the celebration. He's so great. But when you think about it, is he doing anything to show that he's great? Not really. So let me stop trying to throw him a bone. This is the first real red flag. Instability and fragility in his marriage is what he sees as best. All right. I need to stop just trying to see the best in everybody. Let's continue. All right. We are at the worst. In his eyes, the worst is the 7 of Wands in reverse. I told you everyone was reversed. So, he's feeling like no matter how hard he tries. Things don't seem to be going his way. Some things simply are not worth the struggle. Okay, so that ties into, I was like, ooh, okay. Some things, no, Some things simply are not worth the struggle. So at least this is in the worst position. All right, this is what he envisions as the worst, is to like give up. But he's feeling like Contessa will challenge his position, and he will not be prepared to confront the challenge because he lacks confidence. But that's not her fault. It's not her fault. And that's the worst in his eyes, for her to challenge his position. This is why he's running. He felt like that was a challenge. Her just speaking up. And if you notice, anytime she speaks up, he says, oh, just chill out. Oh, you're all right. Oh, just calm down. Oh, just knock it off. Like, he's constantly downplaying her feelings and emotions. He does not want that said no matter what. The reason why is because he lacks confidence. He lacks confidence, which that translates to insecurity. He has insecurities when it comes to Contessa. That's interesting, isn't it? Because what we've seen play out is she seems to cower. And that's, when she first did it, I'm going to be honest, I felt like that wasn't her. She was doing that to suffice his ego. She's dimming her light, and I talk all the time about that. She's dimming her light because he feels like she needs to dim her light in order for his to shine bright. And when people realize what everybody needs to know is we are all, just see ourselves as candles. And to light another candle does not take any light from your candle. So do not ever walk this earth and feel like someone else needs to dim their light in order for yours to shine brighter. That's false. That's a false narrative. And it's toxic. It's a toxic way of thinking, and especially it's a toxic way of being in a relationship, feeling like your partner needs to dim their bright shining star or light in order for you to shine. Like, that's toxic. So the worst for him is for her to be shining bright, basically. Let's continue. Also, real quick, I forgot, because I make lots and lots of notes, you guys. So, again, with the worst card, it also says, this card represents as it pertains to relationships, and this being the Seven of Wands in the worst position, it suggests you and your partner will be calling it quits. Living up to all of the demands you've been making from each other has been difficult on both sides. If you want your relationship to last, you'll have to fight for it. This will be difficult for you, especially considering the fragility, again, fragility is mentioned, of your current emotional state. But if you care about your partner, it will be worth it in the long run. So, this is in the worst position. I think the main thing is calling it quits. He doesn't want to call it quits. But if you catch all of this language, he knows there's a problem. And I'm not convinced that he wants to be in this marriage. I'm not convinced he wants to be in this marriage, you guys. He knows there's a problem, but he doesn't want to call it quits. Okay? His shadow side is going to tell us why. So let's continue. All right. We are at the what's to come position. This is another reverse. And it says the Father of Wands, but it's the King of Wands. But this deck relates it as family, which I've told you guys before that the court cards usually 90% of the time represents a person, whether that be you or the person you're asking about, someone significant in your life if it's not you. So, and then I've also told you guys already that the king and queen usually is mother, father. The knight and page is usually brother, sister. Can be seen that way, So, this deck, the language, this is called Father of Wands, which translates to King of Wands. It was in reverse. This is what's to come. Basically, this is all I wanted to write because this was the basic bottom line of what's to come. It says distrust and fear of commitment. That's what's to come. What's to come? Scott. So this is what he believes, and this is why he was running, okay? So, because he was running, like he was, you know what? If running from facing your fear was an Olympic game section or whatever, he'd win. If he didn't win, he certainly could enter. But just a little bit more on the reversed King of Wands and in the what's to come, so far as their marriage, it goes on to say your partner has been breaking promises lately and is not being entirely honest about their intentions for the future. This might be related to an earlier breach of trust or disagreement that was never fully dealt with. Talk to your partner about their fears, but decide for yourself if this is the type of relationship you want to be in. Again, he's questioning if this is the type of relationship he wants to be in. He's constantly questioning himself if this is the relationship, which it's a marriage, that he wants to be in. He feels like she broke a promise from an argument earlier, which, in the part 2 of the reunion, he was like, she didn't file, so maybe he feels like her actually filing, if he believes that she filed, because he seemed confused. And this is in the what's to come position. This is what he feels like is coming. So it looks like they're going to get a divorce. I'm just saying. Okay. And what's crazy is because when I first heard her talking about their troubles, I thought it was fake for TV. I honestly did. After this reading, I no longer feel that way. It ain't funny. I no longer feel that way because I was Team Metcalfe. But now we are getting ready to dive into, instead of the usual normal energy card that I usually show you guys from the same deck, I am going to, for these runners, I'm doing something different, honey. We're going to dig into their shadow. And the shadow is well, let's jump in. Let's jump in right now. I feel like saying, grab your boots and your coat so we can jump on in. So, shadow self. The shadow is the side of your personality that contains all the parts of yourself that you don't want to admit to having. That's basically what that is. Are you guys ready to look at his shadow? All right. You ready? Because it may be a little jolting, because this deck is different. But I'm going to give it to you. So 1, 2, 3, here we go. Okay, you are looking at his shadow side. It says addicted. And it's the number 11. I like the number 11. It's a good number. So take in this image. And I'm gonna tell you what the book describes this photograph as, because the reason why I'm going to read from the book about the description is because it's hard for me to describe, and I don't even think the book does it justice. So that's why I did 3, and I'm telling you guys to look at it. And then when I talk about it, I'm going to not have the 3 version on it. But man, white sparkly hair over a scarred, melted, downcast face. Is the hand melting or already long gone? A chain chokes his neck and many spikes pierce the back. So when I say that it doesn't give it justice, because look at his clothing. He's wearing a tutu and a leather jacket, and look like skinny jeans or tights. And that's perfectly fine. Everyone is free to express themselves. However, when I saw it, I instantly, I just nodded my head, because as it relates to Dr. Scott, allegedly. So let me first say, like, I'm not saying that Dr. Scott is somewhere wearing a leather jacket with a tutu and some tights. That's not what I'm saying at all. And that's not even alleged. That's just not what I'm saying. This represents the shadow part of him. I already knew he needed to balance his feminine and masculine energy. It wasn't balanced. The way that, and this is, I'm just telling you what I got as soon as I channeled his, I was going to say challenged, but I didn't challenge, honey. I ain't challenging Dr. Scott. But that's just his, see, the reason why I was saying that, so the reason why that wanted to come out is because that's his spirit, his energy. But when I was channeling his energy, I could feel and see his feminine and masculine energy was not balanced. But the way he balances it, he feels like it's balanced when he makes a strong woman feel small. So it's weird, because at first I was thinking, okay, well then that's just insecurity. That's like little man syndrome. But honestly, I need to stop saying little man syndrome. And I apologize for all little men who may hear this. I'm not poking fun at you guys, but the energy that he has, in order for him to feel good, he needs a strong woman to cower. This card is labeled addicted. It's going to go on to say, and I may or may not read that, but it's going to go on to say, you know, different addictions that it could be. But one of them is addicted to making, what did it say? Making simple everything that can be deep. That's exactly what he does. He does it all the time. When he wants her to hush and be quiet and tell her it's not that serious, and her like one step away from getting a divorce, and he's saying we're not doing that. That's not what it is. And I didn't know nothing about that. And I don't even know the difference between divorce and separation. I don't know nothing about nothing. He's constantly making things simple that aren't. And that is, you know, how this card is described. Well, that's one of the addictions, but I don't feel like we got to go over all the rest of them, because I'm not saying that that man is doing all the rest of these things. The one thing, the biggest thing, is to make things simple when it's not. And that's an addiction. And it says that he'll feel lost without that feeling. And I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. But I seen it already. I just didn't see it this deep. But I saw that he needed to make her cower. I mean, I feel like we all did when they were, well, it was a couple of times. So this is the part of him that he doesn't want us to see. And this is how he feels. Freedom is not a friend, as it promises responsibility, failure, challenges. Freedom can be taken, can be broken, can be stripped, naked, and whipped and abused. Slavery is a much cleaner choice. If you give it all away at the beginning, how can they take it from you? Okay, before I break that down, let me continue. There's a little bit more. So, how can it be that it's so easy to believe that freedom is an illusion, and it's so hard to feel that slavery is an illusion as well? That the sky has a limit, but the chains have one as well. The irony of it all, when we lose the desire, much before losing the will to fight, is that actually it's possible to reach for the sky even when bound to chains. Okay, so I know that may sound like gibberish. My angels are saying gibberish. Sounds like gibberish to some of you. What it's saying is that a person is choosing slavery over freedom because with freedom, there's responsibility. Basically, freedom can be stripped from you. You can be, it's just, they're imagining a bunch of all of the worst that comes with having freedom, versus slavery. The way they see it is, I'll give it all up in the beginning so that there's nothing to take from me. In this situation, his slavery, first of all, is his mind, his ego. His ego is telling him that in order to feel like a man, he has to make a strong woman feel bad, cower. I'm trying to think of a different word than cower, but it's cower. Bend to his needs. Control a strong woman. Make her feel small. A woman, a strong, independent woman, his ego is telling him what he needs to do in order to feel good or be looked upon as like a big, strong man, is to find a strong woman and make her feel bad about herself. What that told me, his feminine and masculine energy is not balanced at all. At all. And I was around a friend when I was doing this reading, and before I had even got this card, his shadow side, I was explaining that he's not, his feminine and masculine is not balanced. It's too much feminine, and he doesn't know how to balance it, so he's doing it in a way that's all the way wrong. And then this card came out, and I saw the man with a tutu on. And looking the way it looks. And I was like, yep, I was right. Tutu and tights. That's the feminine side. And again, let me say again, I am not saying that he walks around with tutus and tights on. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying I knew his energy was out of balance and he doesn't know how to balance it in a healthy way. He doesn't know. He's doing it in a toxic, wrong way. When a man feels like, and even a woman, but right now we're talking about Dr. Scott, so I'm going to say man. When they feel like they have to put down a strong woman in order to feel like a good man, their energy is not balanced. So let me stop before this video be 10 hours long. Okay, because I think I have something else to say about it. So let me stop and let's continue. All right, so this card is entitled Addiction. He is addicted to oversimplifying everything that is deep. This has to do with how he was treated in his childhood. Someone did it to him, and he is addicted to pouring this toxic behavior onto Contessa. He's a slave to the feeling he gets when he quiets the strong woman. And I'm going to remind everyone that this is alleged and not to be used as facts. His addiction is to oversimplifying everything that is deep. It has made him a slave that can't leave, although he truly wants to. Contessa allows it. Who else would? That's what's going on in his mind. Who else would? Like, he's a pessimist. Okay? He's a pessimist. So he needs a strong woman who will allow him to treat them bad in order to make him feel good. And it is gaslighting because she believes she can't do anything because there's kids involved and this, that, and the other. And she said, I don't matter. Like, he's like, oh my gosh, this is gold. Where am I going to find another woman who feels like she doesn't matter and I can just treat them bad? So I need to hold on to this one. So in that way, he becomes a slave to that feeling and that reassurance that I got her feeling like that, like she's a strong woman who I broke down and can break down anyway. I guarantee you he knows like little key words or whatever to say to trigger her, because she already admitted that they say things below the belt. So he's like, where else can I find this? I'm too old to be looking for another weak, strong, weak woman. He ain't trying to start over with this. So yeah, he want to hold on to her for all the wrong reasons. But he becomes a slave to that. But what he really needs to do is he needs a complete transformation out of that toxic mind. And that is the reason why he doesn't want to go to therapy. Therapy would help fix that. But he doesn't want to. He's afraid of the freedom that was mentioned earlier because, I already said it, but oh, you guys, this is heavy. It's dark. And actually, this card is not that bad. But every time I do a runner's reading, we're going to use this deck to see their energy. So, just be prepared for something that may, not be as clean as this one. Let's continue. All right. And simply, I just wanted to say that self-awareness is the only way to recognize our shadow. We all have a shadow self. So, self-awareness is the key. And being aware of it, plus working on it, is the thing to do. not aware and just ignoring it. Dr. Scott, I don't even believe he's aware of it. Allegedly. I wish him the best, but this was ugly because he's with her for all the wrong reasons, and that's why he runs. Because he's not getting ready to face this stuff, and he doesn't want anybody to know this. He doesn't want anybody to know about what he went through growing up and why his mentality is fucked up. Because to believe that you've got to put a woman down, a strong woman, okay, not just any woman, but a strong woman, in order to like feel manly, that's fucked up. He don't want nobody to know that. He needs self-awareness plus, action to work on it. And he refuses. That's why he refuses to go to therapy. He won't. And she doesn't make him. And he feels like that's gold. Like he reached a pot of gold or whatever. He doesn't want to leave. Where else can he find that? What's the chances of finding a strong woman that he can bully? Because I forgot bully was in there on one of those cards, and I didn't want to make it long, so I didn't talk about the bullying, but he's bullying her. All right, continuing. So, Sagies, we have reached the end. Thank you so much for all of your support. It means everything to me. I really appreciate it. And I just want you to ask yourself, if you are in a certain type of relationship or situation, and it doesn't have to even be marriage or romantic, just any kind of communicative relationship, whether it's friends or boss or marriage, just a couple of questions to ask yourself when you just stand back and think. Would you accept transformative energy? Will you invite transformation into your life? Or will you be left behind? Because there will come a time in our life where it's time to transform. Just as the butterfly does. Just as the caterpillar does. The caterpillar is the one that transforms into a butterfly. So we're all going to have those moments. So are you the person who's going to invite it? Are you going to accept it? Or are you going to be left behind because you won't do it and you're fighting it? I don't know. Ask yourself that. But enjoy your week and be safe and wash your hands. Also visit my website at unapologeticallysage.com and click like and subscribe.